No one gets to choose the country or region they are born into. From the very beginning, people are placed into circumstances that can either support their growth or make life far more difficult. Some are born in nations filled with opportunity, stability, and a high standard of living, while others grow up in environments shaped by hardship, conditions that can deeply influence their future and overall well-being. This raises an important question. What truly makes a country good? Is it simply stunning landscapes, rich natural resources, and a powerful economy? Or does it also include deeper factors such as political stability, effective governance, and the happiness and security of its people? Imagine a nation blessed with fertile land and immense natural wealth, an image that suggests comfort, progress, and prosperity. Such a country does exist. Venezuela, for example, holds the largest proven oil reserves in the world, estimated at over 300 billion barrels. At first glance, it appears to have everything needed for success. However, the reality is far more complex. Venezuela has been facing significant challenges due to tumultuous political policies and economic mismanagement. Despite its wealth in natural resources, many of its citizens live in poverty, struggling to meet basic needs. Hyperinflation has further compounded these issues, severely diminishing purchasing power and making everyday life incredibly difficult for the average Venezuelan. The country is located at the northern edge of South America. To the south, it is bordered by the Amazon, while to the east lies Guyana, to the west is Colombia, and to the north is the Caribbean Sea. In terms of land area, Venezuela is quite large. While it may seem typical within South America, it is significantly larger than many countries around the world. Additionally, the country is rich in resources, particularly because it has the largest proven oil reserves globally, which gives it a geographic advantage. However, despite this wealth, Venezuela is facing severe economic challenges and struggles to effectively market its oil on the global stage. Of course, we will talk about this issue, but let's first take a look at the capital of this much-discussed country. Welcome to Caracas, the capital of Venezuela. With a population of 28 million, presents a stunning view from above. However, once you're in the city, it reveals a different reality. One of chaos, long queues have become a common sight in Venezuela. The country is known for its never-ending lines for nearly every basic necessity. In a nation abundant in oil, it seems paradoxical that people are experiencing shortages of it. Many residents can't even get gasoline on the same day. They park their cars along the edges of gas stations and try to fill up early in the morning the next day. Furthermore, people in Venezuela often carry bags of money because their currency has lost much of its value. They use a currency called the Venezuelan bollar, which is severely devalued compared to the US dollar and the euro. For instance, $1 US is officially worth about 35 times more than the Venezuelan bollar. This situation has created a dire economic crisis in the country. In reality, the disparity is even greater. As the Venezuelan government continues to devalue the currency, they have been repeatedly removing zeros from it. Today, even the Syrian pound holds more value than the Venezuelan bolivar. Imagine relying on the outside world for almost everything, while your money can't buy basic necessities. Since obtaining foreign currency is difficult, the government simply prints more money to purchase goods from abroad. This leads to soaring inflation, where a block of cheese can cost around $25. Current estimates suggest that inflation in Venezuela is around 10,000%. Also imagine a country rich in oil, but the oil has little value because you are under embargo and cannot sell it. Having abundant oil doesn't guarantee that it can be processed. Effectively, much of it just remains unutilized. As a result, you purchase ready-made oil from Iran while supplying them with unrefined crude oil. Iran benefits significantly from this arrangement. For instance, they provide 1 billion barrels of processed oil in exchange for a larger quantity of UN processed oil, allowing them to profit handsomely from the deal. Experiencing abundance in wealth significantly affects the people of a country. For example, in Venezuela, you can only withdraw $3 per week from ATMs, whereas in a country with a struggling economy like Lebanon, you can withdraw up to $100. This disparity leads to a lack of trust in the banking system in Venezuela, prompting individuals traveling from abroad to bring as many dollars as they can spend, even if you have a globally accepted card. Venezuelan ATMs often have no money available. The problem doesn't stop here. For instance, if you make a purchase in a country and hand over a $10 bill for a $3 item, you may find that very few businesses can provide you with $7 in change. As a result, the economy suffers, and even tourists cannot contribute effectively. Now consider a local resident in Venezuela who has discovered an interest in work around. Suppose you go out to a nice restaurant with your family and the bill comes to $100 due to the country's financial restrictions. Citizens cannot access local currency, and credit cards are not functional to resolve this. Both restaurant owners and customers have established dollar accounts. In the United States, customers can transfer dollars from their U.S. bank accounts to the restaurant owners via their phones to settle the bill. Consequently, many families in Venezuela maintain bank accounts in the United States. However, this arrangement does not benefit the Venezuelan government, as people are reluctant to deposit any money into local banks in Venezuela. The tragic irony is that the monthly minimum wage stands at 130 bolivares, roughly $5 USA, sum wholly inadequate for surviving an entire month. As a response, the government occasionally makes public transport free and distributes food assistance with petrol at many stations, often being provided at no cost. The average monthly income for workers, around $45 last year, has now risen to about $70. However, Venezuelans are calling for a minimum wage of at least $500 to cover basic living expenses, facing slim chances of this demand being met. Tens of thousands are leaving for Colombia. While conditions in Colombia aren't ideal, they present fewer day-to-day challenges, ease and irregularities, offering a sense of stability absent in Venezuela. Not too long ago, Venezuela was one of the most civilized and prosperous countries in its region. Just 20 years ago, it was at the top in Latin America. People migrated there from Middle Eastern countries like Lebanon and Syria in search of a better life and established a stable community. However, things did not go as expected for Venezuela. After 1998, former president residents shifted the economy from being production-based to one heavily reliant on oil. Under Hugo Chavez, they essentially expelled companies by stating, "If you have your brands, we have our oil." Initially, this approach went largely unnoticed because Chavez focused on redistributing wealth, taking from the rich, and helping the poor majority in his country, with the majority being poor. They wholeheartedly supported every policy Chavez implemented, which led him to victory in every election. The country's wealthy, constantly threatened by the prospect of coups from the poor, majority eventually gathered their belongings and left their homeland as a result. If you visit Venezuela today, you won't find many of the brands you might typically expect, because they simply do not exist anymore. For example, McDonald's exists in the country, but it operates under a different name. After acquiring the rights to use the brand, a Venezuelan company utilized the brand's naming rights in various ways. For instance, due to the high cost of potatoes, instead of selling French fries, they offer a crispy dough dish called yuca. Ultimately, the withdrawal of both the private sector and wealthy individuals from Venezuela led to significant challenges for the nation and inadvertently initiated a process that would contribute to its decline. In 2013, Chavez passed away, leaving behind a petrostate, where people rummaged through garbage for food. After Chavez, Nicolas Maduro became president, but his ascent to power did not reverse Venezuela's decline. The country's only hope lay in its oil reserves. However, by 2017, Venezuela could not even meet its own electricity needs, leading to nationwide power outages. Traffic came to a standstill, the metro services halted, and the country was plunged into darkness. During this period, many people fell into depression, and recovering from the trauma they experienced was not easy even today. Venezuela has struggled to regain stability. The economic chaos in Venezuela has driven crime rates to unprecedented levels, making it one of the most dangerous countries in the world. Certain neighborhoods, such as Petare, are notorious for their danger. Some even consider them more perilous than the favelas in Brazil. In Petare, located in the capital, drivers avoid stopping at red lights because most kidnappings and robberies happen when vehicles are stationary. As a result, the Venezuelan police do not issue fines for not stopping at red lights. In this troubled environment, everyone seems to be searching for a way out. Many years ago, a leader named Simon Bolívar liberated Venezuela, Ecuador, and Colombia from Spanish colonization, uniting them under the umbrella of Grand Colombia and granting independence to the region. Today, the countries of Latin America are in search of economic salvation, having explored Venezuela's economic troubles. Let's shift our focus to different topics. You may already know that Venezuela does not require a visa from most countries for stays of up to 90 days. The local people are genuinely warm, and there is not a significant issue with racism in the country. However, it's essential to keep a close eye on your valuable belongings. While visiting the country's natural landscape is undeniably captivating, especially since it is home to the world-famous Angel Falls, as the highest waterfall in the world, with an approximate height of 1,000 meters. It adds to the region's allure. However, the challenging accessibility of the area significantly increases the costs associated with visiting this natural wonder. To closely examine the waterfall, you'll need to take a helicopter. Tourism companies keep the adrenaline high by navigating through dangerous rocks on their way to the waterfall. Discovered by James Angel in 1933, the waterfall has been named after him ever since. Although the country's nature is beautifully preserved, ordinary people cannot access it by helicopter, with almost every sector in the country stagnant. Few activities can captivate the public and provide an escape from the stress of daily life. Because of this, many people choose to flock to Colombia when they want to have fun and unwind. When you look at the faces of people in Caracas, the capital of Venezuela, it's evident that many of them are unhappy and depressed. The streets lack vibrancy, and there is little excitement in the city. Low purchasing power and limited opportunities make life increasingly difficult. The roads, buildings, and even the people seem to be in disrepair. Many individuals wake up, go to work, and return home to sleep, while others choose to engage in illegal activities in hopes of escaping the country. In contrast, there is a different kind of life in the jungles of Venezuela, particularly in the Amazon region to the south. There, some tribes lead a lifestyle that is largely unaffected by inflation or economic struggles, showing little interest in the state of the country. They live deep in the Amazon rainforest and reject the rules of the modern world. Some reports even suggest that they consume human flesh. These tribes remain hidden in the forests and are not particularly welcoming to outsiders. They are one of the most isolated tribes in the world. This tribe is known for its wild nature and internal differences of opinion. The state reaches out to those who flee the tribe, but retraining older individuals is not an easy task. Venezuelans can identify these individuals by their darker skin, which sets them apart from city dwellers.